All right, y'all, today we're going to take a look at this boudoir photography business. Going to see for its local search and for its city search if it's got BSS, yes or no. So we're back here in the GBC universe where we're taking declining boudoir photographers to the #1 boudoir photographer in their city. As always, our North Star is FSIC, full spectrum intent capture. And more about that, pinned video, home post somewhere on this profile. And this is because FSIC explains why all boudoir photographers either rise or fall. So we got our FSIC graph here in white. Over on the left, we got the highest intent peeps, Google searchers, social searchers, searching for a boudoir photo shoot in their city today, right now. Focus on talk about BSS here in all our videos. Over on the right, we got the lowest intent peeps, peeps that ain't searching for a boudoir photo shoot in their city right now. And actually, most of them have no idea what the heck boudoir even is. We reach them through interruption ads on Instagram and Facebook. And we talk about that over on our sister brand, profiles, Boudoir FB Ad Doctor, where we talk about BLCS. And over there, we currently only work with boudoir photographers running more than 10 grand a month in boudoir Facebook ads. All right, so BSS is boudoir search sameness. That is when a boudoir photographer has either 0 or 1 slots on page 1 on Google. If we got 0 slots on page 1 on Google, man, we're basically already dead here. Because we now have the data, we know that approximately 80% of Google searches never even never even go to page 2. They're page 1 and done searches only. So approximately 80% of the marketplace. So that's the bulk of the marketplace. So we're invisible to 4/5 of people from page 2 or deeper. So we got to get on page 1. But 1 slot on page 1, that ain't enough. Because guess what? There's 10 organic slots on page 1, which means, if there's 9 other boudoir photographers, everyone's got 1 slot. Everyone looks the same. No one stands out. So guess what? A buyer's simply going to click down through everyone, open everyone's website, do price quotes, price shop, price compare, negotiate, and, that kills our margins. And since we're not, we don't look any different, we do not want either of these scenarios. Now, 0 1 slots on page 1 Google is actually not normal. It is the symptom of 2 deeper root causes. Those 2 deeper root causes are market saturation. So that's, more boudoir photographers entering the marketplace every single week, it seems like. Basically, anytime anyone gets a new iPhone or new camera, new gear, they're throwing up their Google My Business profile saying they shoot boudoir. They're throwing a website saying they shoot boudoir, and they are throwing up they're posting them on Facebook groups saying they're now for boudoir photo shoots. So the same number of sellers, or large number of sellers to the same number of buyers, means it's harder for every single seller. Margins compress, people disappear. And so everyone really understands market saturation. It happened in a big way with COVID. People lost their jobs, so they still had to work. Everyone's got a phone with a great camera. Okay, easy to start a boudoir photography business. Market saturation. Now, the one most people don't know about is the false belief of page 1 equality. So it seems like a lot of boudoir photographers simply kind of, passively accept that, as a boudoir photographer, you're going to get either 0 or 1 slots on page 1 on Google, and that's simply how it is. But what actually happens is, let's say you got 1 slot on page 1 on Google, you're on like slot 8. A few new boudoir photographers into the market pushes our website back to slot, whatever, somewhere on page 2. And boudoir photographers are like, oh, well, that's how it is. You normally get either 0 or 1 slots page 1 on Google, and that's simply how it is. And this is 100% incorrect. And I know this because I went from 0 out of 10 slots page 1 on Google to 9 out of 10 slots page 1 on Google in only 10 days. So I know it's false this is a false belief of page 1 equality, that a boudoir photographer gets, 0 or 1 slots and that's it, because I went and did the opposite. So what I discovered was that Google will actually give as many slots on page 1 as somebody wants to put in the effort to acquire. So, okay, now we can build a solution around this, and we've done that. See that in 2 pictures. Now, a boudoir photographer with BSS is a disappearing boudoir photographer at DBP. And, if we got 0 slots on page 1, we're on page 2 or deeper, invisible to approximately 80% of the marketplace. Obviously, we're disappearing. But if we're on page 1, we got 1 slot, we're still basically invisible. It's basically disappearing, being price shopped against everyone. Both cases are bad. And we care about disappearing boudoir photographer because if we are a disappearing boudoir photographer, that means our It's kind of like the warning light, the flashing check engine light, the warning signal, saying, hey, our boudoir photography business itself is on the path to actually disappearing. But thankfully, we now have a solution. We've discovered through testing that BSS is treated with social search saturation, aka S-cubed methodology. And S-cubed methodology, it works exactly as the name says. We saturate social search with the highest intent boudoir buyer keywords. So we show up there when they search them. And when we do this, when we saturate social search, that's kind of like all the snow on the backside of the Andes Mountains, the east side, down in South America. That snow melts, goes into small streams, flows into small streams, small rivers. That's social search saturation. And then that all flows into the Amazon River. That's page one search on Google is the Amazon River. So it all starts with saturating social search. And the interesting thing about SQ methodology is it's the only thing that I've seen that can allow the boudoir photography business to continue to grow in the face of market saturation and even massive market saturation. The only other second thing that could allow that is having a large, well-known brand. So brand would obviously solve that. But that takes 5 to 10 years to acquire. We don't have 5 to 10 years. AI is here taking people's jobs. We need to dominate fast and fight against market saturation as fast as possible. And something I see that, kind of looking at estimates here, I believe SQ methodology can actually help people build a brand actually approximately 8x faster than normal methods because we're showing up so frequently on so many different surfaces. So it's kind of like the only turbo brand builder boost thing out there. So imagine if you've got a large well-known brand and you're using SQ methodology, you're basically untouchable by market saturation. So an example of still growing in the face of market saturation, let's say we're in a boudoir. Let's say we're in, I want to go to Virginia Beach, Virginia. Let's say we're in Virginia Beach, Virginia. There's 1 million boudoir photographers there. Each boudoir photographer has their own website, and they shoot boudoir. Everyone's fighting for those 10 organic page one slots on Google. Massive competition. And what actually happens is we're like, man, the only way we can compete, well, if we had brand, but we ain't got that large, well-known brand. So the only other second option is we got to utilize SQ methodology. So we take it, we crank it up to the max. And when we crank it up to the max, let's say we're ranking for the first 300 slots for the highest intent boudoir buyer keywords across all of social search. And when we do that, let's say that flows out onto Google, and we saturate the first 300 slots, page one of first 300 slots of Google for those highest intent boudoir buyer searches. And it's 10 organic slots per page on Google, so that means we're taking up literally the first 30 pages. And so for any boudoir buyers out there, anywhere they search, social search, Google search, we're basically the only boudoir photographer that pops up. We've literally taken all the slots from everyone else. This would be SQ methodology to the ultra super max. But if we're essentially the only one being found, whose business is growing? Ours, in the face of massive market saturation. Whose business is disappearing, slowing down, vanishing? Well, it's the 999,999 other boudoir photographers that can basically only be found Google page 31 or deeper. And we already know approximately 80% of searches never even hit page 2. So dude, who's actually going to page 31? Ain't nobody going to page 31. Now, once you're with SQ methodology, we have page 1 visibility, P1V. So initial benefit, more slots, page 1 on Google. Second initial benefit is actually, when we take those more slots on Google, we're actually kicking competing boudoir photographers off page 1 and putting them on page 2 or deeper, effectively making them invisible. And when we do that, we actually turn them into disappearing boudoir photographers, and eventually they'll most likely exit the market. So a lot of boudoir photographers actually get this benefit better than the first one we talked about. Now, page 1 visibility activates boudoir search visibility for us. So the GBC universe recommends, as a recommended minimum, of getting 3 out of 10 slots on Google page 1. And that's because if everyone else has got 1 slot, our 3 slots, we're going to dominate them, look way better. People wonder why Google's recommending us so much and be clicking through ours. And in the super rare case someone else has 2 links, well, guess what? We are R3 still looks better than there too. So we're basically dominating all scenarios here. And a boudoir photographer with BSV is a visible boudoir photographer, a VBP. So this is our micro universe here. We got a disappearing boudoir photographer with boudoir search sameness caused by the dual horns of market saturation and the false belief of page one equality, which now we know is false. And we now have a solution. We can utilize S-cube methodology to solve all this. Achieve page one visibility, become a visible boudoir photographer with boudoir search visibility. All right, now my results, utilizing S-cube, purely utilizing S-cube methodology for myself. So I want to, frank for the term here, BLCS boudoir. I want to dominate page one of Google, BLCS boudoir. So I utilize S-cube methodology. Started with 0 out of 10 links on page one of Google. Let's see what I was able to get to. So we got organic, slot 1, Instagram, me. Slot 2, me. Slot 3, me. Slot 4, me. Slot 5, me. Slot 6, me. Slot 7, me. Slot 8, me. Slot 10, me. So I was able to go from 0 out of 10 slots page one on Google to 9 out of 10 slots page one on Google in only 10 days. And these are my results I got purely using S-cubed methodology. All right, main event here. Let's see this boudoir photography business, see if they got their local search or their city search, if they got BSS for either of those. So we're going to East Hampton, Mass. All right. Going up here, East Hampton. All right, so let's see what we got here. Dun, dun, dun. All right, we got one. Boom, we got 2. Boom, we got 3. And all right, so we got, all right, good. Local, we got 3. Got our recommended, we do not have BSS. We hit the 3 out of 10 recommended minimum. All right, now we're going to Springfield, Mass. Let's see what we're cooking up here. So, all right, we're at 0 out of 10 for our city search. So we got BSS for this one. So let's see. All right, so local search, we ain't got BSS, and we did reach the GBC recommended minimum. 3 out of 10 slots, page one, Google search. City search, we got 0 out of 10 slots, city search. So yes, we got BSS, and we are not meeting the recommended minimum 3 out of 10 slots, page one, Google search for the city search. All right, so if you're a disappearing boudoir photographer, you've done your local searches, your city searches with the highest intent boudoir buyer keywords in your city, and you're saying, you know, for at least one of those searches you got BSS, or for at least one you're not hitting the GBC recommended minimum 3 out of 10 slots, page one of Google search, and you've broken through the mental barrier, you've accepted that the false belief of page one equality is exactly that, a false belief, and you're seeing, wow, S-cube methodology is actually exactly what you've been waiting for, and it's exactly the solution you know you want in order to, you know, get all these slots page one, increase chances of bringing in new clients. And you're liking the initial benefits, more slots page one, and you really like kicking the other boudoir photographers off page one, making them essentially invisible, making their business start going down the path to disappearing. And you're also looking ahead, and you're understanding, wow, AI is taking a lot of people's jobs right now. Last time that happened was COVID. Ton of new boudoir photographers came into the market because, yeah, everyone's got a phone, a superpowered smartphone, a superpowered camera, and everyone still needs to earn money. And so you're seeing all that, and you actually are realizing, man, it's not about, you know, getting the links on there is cool. Yeah, kicking people off cool, but you realize then you actually got to fortify your position on page one for all the new boudoir photographers that are going to be entering the market, not only from the gear, but the largest percentage will be AI taking people's jobs, and people still need to earn money. So you realize, man, you actually got to super fortify your position page one, like fortifying those levees down in Nolens, Louisiana, because the city is below sea level. So like, man, I got to have page one links, backups to my page one links on page two, backups to those links on page three, like have so many links and backup links that like basically nobody else, no other current competitor can rank page one, and no other future competitor can rank page one after AI takes their job and then they decide to become a boudoir photographer. And you're seeing that S-cubed methodology is actually the only solution that you can see that enables that. You're also looking ahead to the future benefits that you like for the S-cubed methodology, where you understand we're building these invisible thematic keyword columns kind of plugged into your brand, plugged into your name, business name, website name, social handles, kind of in the backend in cyberspace, taking up backend AI keyword mindshare. And you understand that every new day we successfully execute S-cubed methodology, that we are increasing the probability we show up here in the AI overview. The most premium placement, we cannot pay for this. This is organic only, and it is the number one most premium placement. So increase the probability of getting here every single day, and increase the probability of being ranked on AI search every single day we successfully execute S-cubed methodology. And when we do that, that's ChatGPT, that's Claude, that's Perplexity, that is Microsoft Copilot, that is Google Gemini. Higher chance we get ranked AI search, which is literally growing every single day, getting bigger every single day. I remember the last time I did ChatGPT AI search for boudoir photographers in a city. It brought up 3, and I went to manually look at that city, Google and Facebook, manual search, standard search, and dude, there was like 60 boudoir photographers in that city. So it's like, dude, we gotta get these slots at least one of these slots any way possible. And you're seeing that S-cubed methodology is really the only solution out there that builds up these invisible thematic keyword columns that builds up a backend AI keyword mindshare. It's invisible, but it's building up every day. And you also understand that my current plan is to only work with one boudoir photographer per city. So you realize you can get all these benefits and prevent all your competitors from getting any of these benefits and kick them off page one down to page 2 and deeper, and build up this massive, keyword momentum, the back-end AI brain momentum with these keywords, and put a massive gap between you and your competitors. And you decide to be a first mover. You're like, man, I cannot pass this up, because you understand the converse scenario where one of your competing boudoir photographers in your city actually signs on with me, and us working together, we actually kick you off page 1, and you actually go way, you're on page 2, maybe 3, maybe 4, like way deeper, and we're fortifying getting all these links ranked, so that you basically have no chance to ever rank on page 1 again. And we're building up these invisible thematic keyword columns in the backend in cyberspace attached to their brand, building up backend AI keyword mindshare, increasing the probability your competitor ranks in the AI overview, kicking you out of there, and increase the probability they're shown in AI search, building their brand approximately 8x as fast as normal processes. And in order to compete, you would have to actually go and rederive S-cubed methodology, or derive it the first time. And when you do that, you would never actually be 100% confident you've derived it correctly. But once you do that, you then have to go and execute it every single day, same as us. And if you do those 2 things, well, guess what? You're simply maintaining the gap me and your competitor had already built up ahead of you. And so then you realize, okay, you got to actually execute us like 2 or 3x every single day in order to start pulling that AI keyword mindshare in the back end away from your competitor's brand and back towards your brand. But still, again, you're not even 100% confident you've derived the strategy correctly in the first place. So super hard to even put in that effort. And then if you do put in the effort, dude, it's like 80 hours per day. I mean, who has that time? So after all that, you realize, and screw that, I have decided to be first mover in my city. So if that's you, shoot us a DM. And our DMs are currently closed. Hospital is currently closed for new patient intake. But when we do open our DMs again, when the hospital does open for new patient intake, then shoot us a DM, and we will see if you qualify to utilize our S cubed methodology.